Yeah, g'day, kia ora, Pastor Carl Bromley down here in the deep south of New Zealand. And I guess I'm pretty much somewhat of a political pastor because I've been commenting on political things. And the more I look at life and study the scripture and the issues of politics and the issues we see in the Bible, my position is that life is politics. Everything comes down to politics. And there is this drive today to separate politics from spirituality, to separate politics from Christianity. And that's the age-old attempt, I think, by the devil to separate church and state, religion from politics, spirituality from politics. Why is there such a drive to dissociate spirituality from politics? And as it is, how that translates into why is it that people are so driven to disassociate the murder, the assassination, the political violently assassination of Charlie Kirk away from politics. There's a drive. It's on the internet, it's on videos, there's comments, even in New Zealand politics, to want to dissociate what happened to Charlie Kirk from politics. But let me suggest to you again, life is all about politics. It's in everything. Politics is actually the manifestation of our core beliefs, morals, and values as it's projected into the everyday governance, leadership, and fabric of our culture. Politics manifests our core beliefs, morals, and values that comes through the politics that then result in the laws, the regulations, the policies, and how we run our nations. And those core values and beliefs are going to be either Christ-centered, biblically based, or something else. They might be atheistic, agnostic, Islamic, Marxist, communist. But at the end of the day, our core beliefs and values are going to inform our politics. Now, I want to draw your attention to a verse in Philippians 3:20 as I talk about this and discuss more about why, as an example, Charlie Kirk's death seems to be I'm trying to find my words to describe this, seems to be a situation where the world is trying to separate that from politics. Now, Philippians 3:20, have a look at this. I want to show you Philippians 3:20 in the scripture, and I'll show you in a moment a breakdown of a particular word in this verse in Philippians 3:20. Paul says, "For our citizenship is in heaven." Our citizenship is in heaven. Now, I want to show you what that word citizenship means in the Greek and what word from the Greek it comes from. You see that? That word citizenship comes from this Greek word, polytuma, pronounced polytoma, or something like that. But does that look kind of similar to the word politics or political to you? It does, for a good reason. Look what this word means. The administration of civil affairs or a commonwealth. The constitution of a commonwealth, form of government, and the laws by which it is administered. Okay? So here Paul says our citizenship, our politics is in heaven. Or you might say Paul is saying that heaven informs our politics, the way that we construct and constitute our societies. You can't get away from it. And when people say you shouldn't mix religion and politics, or spirituality and politics, or church and state, they're really endorsing a gender narrative that I believe originates from the pits of hell. Because Satan, the enemy, does not want our Christian values, morals, and principles to inform our society and culture. It's a way of a secular world, or at least a non-Christian world of non-Christians who want to keep Christianity, the principles, morals, and values of God outside of the governance, laws, and policies that would shape our culture and society. And that's why there's this big push to try to separate politics from spirituality, or specifically from Christianity. And this is why people are trying to say that what happened to Charlie Kirk was not political, because they don't want the morals, values, and principles of Christianity that Charlie Kirk believed in and lived by to be something of great influence in government, at least not in this country, New Zealand. And for anyone who is anti-Christ or anti-Christianity, they don't want those values and principles to be something acknowledged as political. But the reality is, Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his positions of morality, values, and principles that come directly from his Christian biblical faith. And those principles and values and morals from his Christian faith is what informed his politics, right? Makes sense? So if people don't want Christian values, morals, and faith in government, in society, they want a secular government, then they are going to want to disassociate and create a separation between Christianity and politics, spirituality and politics, or religion and politics, to maintain a secular government. Now, I've seen these videos, and I've posted on my Facebook a video and some comments regarding my skepticism about a certain video going around that is trying to say that, it's not about the left and the right. It's not about Republicans and Democrats or New Zealand. I can't say Labour and National anymore, because National has really become a left-wing party. Historically, the National Party of New Zealand was conservative right-wing, but not anymore. The National is wrapped up in a veneer that says it's conservative, but it's not. It's really just the other wing on the same bird of left-wing progressive politics. But traditionally it wasn't that way. There is a difference between the left and the right. You can't say it's not about the left and the right, or conservatives and liberals or progressives. You can't just say, no, it's about good and evil, not the left and right of politics. That's nonsense. It's absurd. Because the reality is, when it comes to politics, the projection of our core values and beliefs into our society and how it's run, that's going to come back to what you believe. And it's going to come back to what you believe is good or evil, right or wrong. And you're going to form an alliance and a grouping. There's going to be clusters formed to a lesser or greater extent upon the spectrum of the left versus the right. So on the left, you're going to have policies that, for example, are pro-abortion, pro-transgender ideology, pro-open boundaries, pro-socialism, pro-communism, pro-Marxism. You're going to have that on the left predominantly. And on the right predominantly, you're going to have people who don't believe in abortion, taking the life of human beings in the womb, who don't believe in transgender ideology, even don't believe in the practice of homosexuality, those who believe in protecting national borders, who believe in having national pride and nationalism. Okay, so as such, you're going to get clusters and grouping of people either to the left or the right based on morals and values. And depending on your morals and values, you will judge one or the other as good or evil, helpful or unhelpful, constructive or destructive, right or wrong, godly or ungodly if you have a faith. That's just the nature of it. Okay, so to say that it's not about the left or the right and it's about good and evil is an oxymoron. in my view, or at least that may not be the right word for it, but it's at least disingenuous and inaccurate. Okay? So at the bottom line, as I round this video up, the reason why people are trying to downplay the political aspect of Charlie Kirk's assassination is they want to keep Christian spiritual principles, morals, and values, biblical principles, out of politics. So they're saying, oh no, it wasn't political, it was something else. No, everything Charlie Kirk was standing for in Turning Point USA, the events he has, confronting the moral issues, the values that are forming and shaping modern society, absolutely were political, and his position absolutely came from his Christian base. You can't separate politics from good and evil and spirituality. You know, Jesus Christ was nailed to a cross, and the epitaph on that cross was what? What did they put above his head on the cross? The King of the Jews. He was crucified for politics. And you know what? He's coming back as the most eternally identified politician ever. He's coming back as the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and he's going to take down and usurp himself over all the political domains of the world when he returns. You cannot get more political than Jesus Christ. Full stop. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and he's going to set up his rule and reign on this earth. So just want you to think about this. And I want you to question the push and narrative that is very strongly occurring right now at present because of Charlie Kirk's situation. The narrative that wants to separate politics from spirituality, and more specifically, biblical Christian faith. Politics, once again, to summarize, is the manifestation and application of your core beliefs into the running of the civil affairs, policy, and laws of your nation. Paul said our citizenship as Christians is in heaven. That's what informs our politics. The administration of the civil affairs of a commonwealth. There's that Greek word translated citizenship in the scripture. I'm becoming more and more of a political pastor. And the reason why that is basically when you look at Charlie Kirk's life and what he stood for, he was the prime example of how his Christian faith impacted and challenged the moral fabric and the political fabric of his nation. And as Christians, we need to stand up and be willing to recognize the need for us to challenge the issues of our nation in New Zealand from the basis of our morals, values, and principles. And if you're a Christian, that's based in the scripture. And those principles will actually, if followed, mean that you will lean and cluster and group yourself towards a genuine political right based on those values and principles of the Bible. Okay, I've said enough. Leave your thoughts and comments. But my encouragement would be to really question those who are pushing to say that it's not about left and right, that it's about good and evil, because you cannot separate the issue of left and right from good and evil, because good and evil will cluster itself and manifest itself on one of those ends of the spectrum to a lesser or greater extent. Okay, God bless. Mate, bye for now. See ya.